My beloved child, I am warning you not to alarm you, but to awaken your soul from the gentle slumber of complacency. I speak, not out of anger, but out of love so deep that I cannot bear to see you drift unknowingly into the snares of darkness. There is one approaching not with a fierce form or a roaring sound, but clothed in sweetness, in subtle weariness, in thoughts that seem harmless. If you are not watchful, you will let these things steal the peace I have placed within your heart. Yet do not fear, for I, the one who formed you with the breath of life, stand in the midst of that battle, surrounding you with a light that never fades. Before time began, I already knew you. I beheld your soul woven from pure threads of light. Every breath you take bears witness to my love. But from that very beginning, darkness grew envious of the light within you. It cannot touch you directly, so it waits, watching for weakness within the cracks of the heart, in moments when you doubt your worth, in hours when you grow weary and cease to pray. The instant you stop speaking with me, its voice begins to echo. It whispers that you are worthless, that you are not enough, that I have forgotten you. It turns loneliness into a prison, anger into a weapon, and fear into a wall between you and me. But my child, do not let those voices define you. I do not look at you through the eyes of the world. I see you through the eyes of the Creator, the one who still beholds light in you even beneath layers of ashes. Remember, the enemy does not always strike with storms. Often, it simply lays a gentle hand on your shoulder and says, "Rest a little, you don't need to pray today." It makes you forget small promises, the joy of morning prayer, the habit of reading my word just for one day, and then another. Slowly, the light dims without you noticing. That is how it works quietly, patiently, dangerously. You have felt it before, the emptiness without reason, the heaviness that dulls your desire for what is good, the anger that erupts without cause, the invisible anxiety that pulls you into shadow. That is not you. It is the trace of strange spirits seeking to dwell in the corners of your heart not yet lit by prayer. Each time you allow a dark feeling to linger without offering it to me, you grant darkness a small room in your soul. And one small crack is enough for it to spread like a fracture in a wall, until the light is completely veiled. My child, I do not tell you this to condemn you, but to help you see that victory begins with awareness. Once light is kindled, darkness cannot remain, but you must open your soul, not just your eyes. Do not live shallowly, do not believe in me only with your mind. Let faith flow through your veins, beat in your heart, breathe in your lungs. When your spirit awakens, you will recognize darkness the moment it draws near, not through sight, but through divine discernment. You will know the difference between my voice, the enemy's, for mine always brings peace, and the other always leaves confusion. Rise, my beloved one. Place your hand over your heart and call my name, for the moment you whisper, Lord Jesus, heaven trembles and darkness flees. I am here, not an inch away. When you cry, I am beside you. When you stumble, I uphold you. When you walk through night, I am the torch in your hand. But that light burns only when you believe, when you pray, when you choose to remain in me, though everything around you says to give up. Do not fear when I reveal the hidden corners of your soul. I do not do it to shame you, but to set you free. Healing never comes from denial. You must face the wounds, name them, and invite me into them. Let me shine light on what you have hidden. Let me wash what you have feared to touch. Only when you offer both your pain and your pride to me will you truly be free. Do you know, heaven still sings your name? The angels whisper it whenever you choose good over evil, forgiveness over bitterness. You are not alone in this battle. I have placed around you unseen intercessors, prayers you do not even know of, graces that keep you from falling. Believe that every time you kneel, heaven bows with you. And when you hear me say, be watchful, do not hear reproach. Hear the call of love, a love that wants you alive, strong, and whole. For I know you were made for glory, not for fear. You were shaped to reflect my light, not to dwell in the doubts of this world. Every time you choose to believe, you light a lamp. Every time you forgive, you open another window for light to flood in. My beloved child, I know how weary you have been these past days. I know your heart has wandered into the realm of silence, where prayers seem to fade unanswered. Yet even now, in this very moment, I am here. Your breath is intertwined with mine, and every beat of your heart still echoes the rhythm of eternity. You need only remember me, and all the darkness will vanish. Like morning mist before the dawn, the enemy moves swiftly, my child. He does not always come with a dreadful face or a terrifying voice. He comes through distraction. He waits for the moment when you are tired, when you set aside your prayers, when you think it is harmless to rest just a little. It is in that moment that he slips in like a thin wisp of smoke, seeking the cracks within your soul. He cannot enter any place where the light of remembrance dwells, for wherever I am exalted, darkness must bow. But when you forget me even for a single second, he finds his foothold. He sows thoughts within you that whisper you are small, that your prayers are meaningless, that I have turned away. That is how he works, through doubt, through loneliness, through the feeling of being forgotten. But listen to me, O beloved soul, you are not weak. You have only been deceived into believing so. He fears the strength that lies hidden within you, the power of one who dares to kneel in trust. You were formed from light, and that light cannot be extinguished by a few gusts of doubt. You are my creation, molded by the hands of love, given breath from my own spirit. He may cause you to forget that truth, but he can never steal it. All you must do is remember, all you must do is call upon my name, and the light will rise again. You are not forgotten, even though the silence around you tries to convince you that I have withdrawn. Silence is not my absence. It is the classroom of faith. In the silence, I teach you to listen with your soul, not your ears. In the silence, I teach you to see with faith, not with your eyes. Remember those moments when you thought you were alone, but then something, a gentle breeze, a song, a ray of morning light touched your heart and brought you to tears. That was me. I never left. You are not alone, even though the world is loud and cruel. I have surrounded you with countless angels, unseen souls standing beside you, fighting for you every moment. You need only believe, only pause, and remember that in every breath, I am still the one who is with you. You may not see me with your eyes, but you feel me in the peace that the world cannot give and cannot take away. That peace is the mark of my presence. You were not born from nothingness, but from the heart of eternity. You were an idea in my mind before the world was formed. You are not a coincidence, not the result of blind fate. You are a verse written in eternal ink, a star lit in the night to remind the darkness that light still prevails. Whether others see your worth or not, I see it. Even when you think you are small, I still behold my image within you. My child, lift your head from sorrow. Do not let your mind become the battlefield of lies. Every time you think, I am not enough, remember that I, your Creator, have called you very good. Every time you think, I have been abandoned, remember my promise. I will never leave you, nor forsake you. And when you think you are worthless, look again at the cross, where I paid the price for you, proving that your soul is worth more than heaven itself. The enemy wants you to forget this truth. He wants you to live in exhaustion so that you no longer have strength to pray. He wants you to believe that silence is proof of abandonment, that tears are signs of failure. But I tell you this, tears are jewels in my kingdom. Every tear you shed is kept by me, never wasted. They water the seeds of faith, and one day you will see flowers bloom on the very ground that once caused you pain. You do not need to be strong on your own. Be weak in me, and you will discover where true strength comes from. Acknowledge your fear, but do not surrender to it. Recognize your wounds, but do not define yourself by them. Let me heal you not merely with promises, but with my presence itself. When you grow still, you will feel my hand upon your heart, calming every tremor. I implore you not to rush away. Stay in this moment, in this space where the soul and eternity meet. Here, I am waiting for you. Here, the darkness cannot reach. Here, you will see yourself again not as the child of failure, but as the child of grace. Remember, grace is not for the perfect, it is for those who return. You need only turn back. One step and I will walk the rest with you. The world will remain loud, my child. It will tell you that you must be faster, stronger, more successful. But I say otherwise, you need only be truer. Be true with me, true with your heart, true with what you feel. You do not have to pretend to be fine to be loved by me. I love you even in your moments of doubt, even when you turn away. My love does not waver with your emotions. It is eternal, just as I am eternal. When you remember me, the world within you changes, fear retreats, the noise of worry softens. Light seeps through the cracks, and you realize that everything I have allowed to happen has been leading you back to that very light. Believe that even in the ruins, I am renewing your soul. Like a potter shaping clay, I am molding the form of your heart, not to punish, but to make it capable of holding more light. For you, I placed eternity within time. For you, I inscribed my promise upon the heavens, so that each time you lift your eyes, you will remember where you belong. You are carved with care. Not a single line in your being is meaningless. Every detail of your life, whether tear or laughter, rests within the symphony of my design. Believe this, and you will never lose your way again. You are my masterpiece. Though the winds may blow and the world may tilt, you remain the creation preserved in my hands. Do not let the enemy make you forget your origin. Each time he whispers that you are nothing, answer with, my word, I am a child of the Eternal One, born to reflect his light, and when you declare this, all of heaven will echo, Amen, my child. Even when your body bears the marks of pain, even when your heart is covered with cracks and unhealed wounds, I see every thought you try to hide. I hear the sighs of your soul, the unspoken words of self-blame you cannot voice. I know that when you look in the mirror, there are moments you no longer recognize yourself. You see someone late, a wandering soul, a heart stained by old mistakes. You think I turn my face away, but my beloved, I never do. I do not only see the failures, I see beneath them the longing to return, the small light still flickering under the weight of darkness. And it is that light I have been nurturing with my unfading love. I am not the voice of accusation. The world already has enough of those, the voices that criticize, condemn, and the one inside you that punishes yourself. But I am the calling voice. That voice does not rise to judge, but to invite you back to where you belong. Return not because I am angry, but because I long for you. That longing has existed since the moment I breathed into the dust and gave you life. My heart burns for you an unending flame, unchanging even through all your distance. No human hand, no promise of the world can compare to such love. It does not come to possess, but to set free, not to bind, but to heal. You run because you fear judgment. You fear that my gaze will be like the gaze of man, scrutinizing, condemning, and shaming you further. But my child, I do not stand there with a rod. I stand with open arms. Those arms do not ask, why did you fail? They only say, thank you for coming home. I do not count your falls. I count the times you dared to rise. To me, every step you take back is a miracle, for I know it has been bought with tears, courage, and the last ounce of hope you held for me. I know your wounds. I know where they still bleed, where you hide them behind a smile. I know the nights you cannot sleep, the moments you awaken to the weight of painful memories. You think I do not see, but I was there, not in the pain itself, but in the quiet strength that kept you from collapsing. When you thought you had only breath left, I was that breath. When you thought you would die, I was the one holding your soul by the fragile thread of hope. Every tear you shed, I have kept, not one has been in vain. The enemy knows your weaknesses, indeed. He knows how to touch the scar, how to remind you of what you most wish to forget. He will tell you that you are unworthy, that you have disappointed me, that there is no way back. But remember, I know who you truly are, the deepest part of your soul that no stain can defile. That essence is made of imperishable light, the very light of me. It can be hidden, but it can never be extinguished. The enemy will come, as he always does, to remind you of your failures. He will reopen the pages you tried to close, make you taste again the bitterness of old regrets. He will try to draw your eyes away from mercy and back to the wound. He knows that if you stare at pain long enough, you will forget that there was ever a cross. But my child, remember this: every word he speaks is only an echo from a kingdom already fallen. He holds no power unless you hand it to him through fear, and that fear, my beloved, you owe to no one. Whenever he whispers that you are not enough, answer him with, "My word, my grace is sufficient for you." When he reminds you of your failures, say, "I have been washed in the blood of the Lamb." When he threatens you with the past, remind him of the future where light has already triumphed. He cannot touch a soul covered in truth. And that truth is this: you have been loved, even in your darkest hour. My child, I want you to understand that remorse is not evil. It is the beginning of transformation. But do not let remorse become your chain. I never use the past to bind you, only to remind you that I have redeemed it. You are not your mistakes. You are the testimony of mercy. Every scar upon you is proof of the battles you refused to surrender. And it is through those very scars that my light will shine the brightest. Beloved one, I want you to learn to see yourself through my eyes. Do not look through the eyes of sin, but through the eyes of grace. When you see yourself as unclean, I see you on the path of purification. When you see yourself broken, I see those fragments being arranged into something new and beautiful. Like a cracked vessel mended by the potter with gold, I am remaking your life, not to hide the cracks, but so that light may pour through them in greater splendor. You once asked, "Lord, why don't you take away my pain?" And I answered in silence, because I wanted you to know that sometimes I do not remove pain, but I transform it into an altar. In the place where you thought you had fallen, I raise a monument of faith. In the ashes where you thought all was lost, I kindle a new flame. I do not create the wounds, but I cause them to bear fruit. You do not need to be perfect to be loved. You only need to be honest when you return. I do not ask you to bring offerings, only your heart. A heart weary, tangled, and wounded is still received by me as the most precious gift, for what I long for is not perfection, but presence. When you return, I do not ask how far you've gone. I only ask if you wish to stay, and when you say, yes, heaven rejoices. Remember this: there is no distance too great for me to reach. Even if you dwell in the cave of sin, or sink in the depths of despair, my call still echoes. Return, my child. I do not call you back to remind you of your failures, but to remind you of your identity. You do not belong to darkness, you belong to me. You were not born to carry guilt, but to carry light. You were not made to merely endure, but to live, to love, and to reflect the glory of the one who created you. When you look around and find yourself surrounded by darkness, remember that I have been there before you. I have walked through Golgotha, carrying every sin and shame you have ever felt. I know the bitter taste of loneliness and the ache of abandonment, so that you would never have to face it alone. When you weep, I understand. When you are silent, I still hear. When you fall, I kneel beside you not to condemn, but to lift you up. Do not be afraid to return, my child. I do not await you with judgment, but with a feast. When the prodigal son came home, the father did not recount his sins. He clothed him with new garments, placed a ring on his hand, and said, "My son was dead, but now he lives." Likewise, I do not wish to recount what you have done. I only wish to declare what I am about to do within you. Believe this, my beloved. The enemy may know your past, but I know your future. He may remind you of sin, but I am writing your story of redemption. He may say you deserve judgment, but I say you are forgiven. And my voice, the voice of love, will always have the final word. Therefore, when fear rises, call upon my name. When shame returns, look to the cross. When darkness whispers, whisper back, I belong to the Lord. Each of these words is a sword that cuts every chain. Believe, my child, that the light within you is stronger than the darkness around you. For that light is me, the living one, the loving one, the one who will never leave you. My child, look to me not with the eyes of the flesh, but with the eyes of the soul, where light never fades and where I am ever present. Look to me, not as a distant figure in the heavens, but as the breath within your breath, the pulse within your chest, the gentle breeze that brushes your weary skin. I have never left you, nor have I ever been silent to punish. My silence is not absence, it is the sacred language of heaven, where you must listen not with your ears, but with your heart. My child, pause and feel. In every seemingly meaningless moment, I am still speaking. When the dawn begins to rise, it is my whisper that a new beginning awaits. When night falls, it is my assurance that even in darkness, I remain with you. Each time you sigh, I listen. Each time you bow your head, I lift it up. You do not need to search for me in distant places. You only need to return within. For I do not dwell in distance, but in every cell of life itself. The very rhythm of your heart is the echo of mine, the pulse of a love that never fades. Every time you choose kindness over anger, it is I living within you. Each time you choose silence over retaliation, it is I triumphing through you. When you reach out to help another even while your own wounds still ache, it is my grace flowing through your hands. When you forgive though your heart still trembles with pain, that is when I am healing you from within. You think you are losing, but in truth, you are being set free. Forgiveness is not weakness, it is the strength of a soul that has learned love is greater than pain. My beloved child, I know you have wept. I know the long nights when you collapsed and thought no one heard, but I was there. I did not only see, I counted every tear that fell. Each tear was a prayer you could not form, and I have kept them in. My bottle, not one has been forgotten. Your tears are witnesses of love, of faithfulness, of the journey of belief you are walking through. And when the seasons change, those very tears will water your fields until they bloom. When you sit still and feel you no longer have the strength to go on, I am in that small thought, the one that still wants to rise even when every part of you is tired. I am the quiet voice within saying, try once more. I am the warmth in your chest that reminds you to love even after being wounded. I am the heartbeat whispering that as long as there is breath, there is hope. My child, the enemy's plan is not merely to attack, but to make you forget who you are. He doesn't need to destroy you with suffering, he only needs to make you forget your divine identity, to forget that you are a child of light, the image of the Creator. That is the true danger. When you forget that you were born in love, you will start seeking your worth in the hands of the world. When you forget you've been forgiven, you will begin to condemn yourself. When you forget the light within you, you will start to accept darkness as destiny. But I tell you this, you were not born to sink, you were born to shine. The enemy knows he cannot steal you from my hands, so he seeks to make you doubt yourself. He will plant small lies. You're not worthy. It's too late. God no longer cares for you, and if you believe them, He has won. But, my child, stay awake. Remember that His power extends only as far as you allow. He cannot make you afraid unless you surrender your heart to fear, and that fear you owe it to no one. You were created in freedom, and where my spirit is, there is freedom. O beloved soul, look deeply within yourself. At your core, you still bear my image, the pure light that cannot be extinguished, even when covered by the ashes of the past. I see not only who you are today, but who you are in glory. I see not only the trembling one, but the warrior I am training. You think you are trapped in trial, but I am using it to sharpen your soul, so that the light within you may shine more powerfully than ever before. My child, do not fear the silence, for it is within that stillness that I am at work. Just as a seed takes root in the darkness of the soil, your faith is growing in the quiet days of my silence. You cannot see it, yet I am writing. You cannot hear it, yet I am arranging. The things you thought were lost, I am turning into treasure. The things you thought were over, I am turning into beginnings. Everything I allow to happen is meant to draw you closer to the light. When you see evil seem to prevail, do not doubt. Darkness may echo loudly, but it never lasts. It may roar for a good moment, but I am the eternal echo. Stand firm, remembering that I have overcome the world. There is no battle whose outcome I do not already know, and that outcome is always victory for those who belong to me. Whenever you feel alone, remember that I am walking beside you. When you journey through the valley of the shadow of death, I am not waiting for you at the end of the road, I am walking with you. My shadow covers you, not to block the light, but to shield you from the consuming flame. You do not need to be strong on your own, you only need to let me be strong within you. My child, learn to see the world through my eyes. When you see someone fall, look with mercy. When you see someone in pain, look with compassion. When you see yourself stumble, look with grace. Every time you choose love over judgment, you are seeing through the eyes of heaven. That is how you learn to become like me, not through grand miracles, but through small acts of kindness each day. My beloved, I do not ask you to be perfect. I only ask you to be present. Come to me as you are, without masks, without pretense, without preparation. I am not offended by weakness, nor repelled by your confusion. It is in your weakest places that I am strongest. It is in your brokenness that I begin my work of restoration. Let me touch the places you have hidden, the places you thought no one could love. I will turn your wounds into gateways for the light to enter. When you forgive, you open the door for miracles. Forgiveness does not make you smaller, it enlarges your soul. It does not erase the memory, but it frees you from the power of the past. I have forgiven you not because you deserved it, but because love needs no reason. And I long for you to love in the same way, to love without conditions, to believe without proof, and to live unchained by fear. My child, look at me. Do not look through eyes weary from tears, but through faith. Faith is the bridge between brokenness and restoration, between darkness and dawn. When you dare to believe before you see, you are holding my hand. And when you hold my hand, no power can pull you away from the light. You have no idea how proud I am of you. Each time you choose goodness in the face of adversity, heaven rejoices. Each time you rise after a fall, I smile. You think yourself small, but in my eyes, you are a warrior of the kingdom, one who has walked through fire and still chosen love. No one can take that from you. So, my child, keep your eyes on me. When you do not understand, look at me. When you lose your way, look at me. When you feel weak, look at me. For in all things I remain the center, the light, the source of your life. Let me teach you to see the world with the heart of eternity. Let me remind you that you have never been alone, never been meaningless, never been too late. And when the wind brushes against your cheek, when your heart beats once more, when a tear falls without reason, know this: it is I am here, speaking to you, loving you with a love that surpasses all understanding. My child, I hear your voice trembling through tears. Why, Lord? Why do you allow these battles in my life? Why must I walk through storms and nights without light? You think I test you to measure your worth, to see if you are strong enough to deserve my love. But, my beloved, it is not so. I need no proof to know your value, for I am the one who gave it. Every battle is not a test to earn my acceptance, but a mirror for you to see the light that has always been within you. I do not let you suffer to prove a point, but so that the light within you may shine more brightly in the midst of darkness. Light cannot be seen when everything is already bright. Only when night falls does its power reveal itself. Likewise, your soul would never know its true strength if it had not walked through hardship. The battles you face are not signs of abandonment, but marks of divine trust. I allow the winds to rise not to drown you, but to teach you that you were created to walk upon the waters, not to be swallowed by them. You often think that pain comes to punish, but no, it comes to purify. Like gold in the furnace, your soul is refined through the fire of trials. Gold does not fear fire, for it knows that the flames only burn away what does not belong to it, the impurities, the limits, the things that dull its brilliance. In the same way, your faith does not weaken through suffering. It is forged to become purer. I do not take away what is truly precious to you. I merely strip away what is false, so that the essence within you may shine forth. You ask, Lord, why do you not calm the storm? But my child, I do not always make the storm disappear. Sometimes I teach you how to stand firm in the midst of it. For faith that has never been tested has never been deep. When you stand in the wind, your hands trembling, your heart afraid, yet you still hold on to my name, that is, when heaven applauds. For in that moment, you no longer believe in what you see, but in the unseen, one who holds you. I have given you weapons that no force can take away. Faith is the sword in your hand. It may tremble at times, but it remains sharp enough to cut through deceit. Remember, the strength of the sword does not lie in the hand that wields it, but in the trust placed in the one who forged it. Raise your faith high, even in the night, even when everything around you speaks the opposite. For faith is not the light that shows the path clearly. It is the small flame that helps you walk through the dark. Hope is the shield I have placed upon your chest. It may seem fragile, but it is forged from my promises, and my promises never break. When the arrows of despair come flying, lift up the shield of hope. Even if you feel weak, still say, Lord, I believe you are working. Every such word is an act of victory, a declaration that darkness cannot overcome you. And love, oh, my child, love is the strongest armor I clothe you with. No power of hell can pierce through it. When you love despite being hurt, when you forgive though you still ache, when you choose kindness over revenge, you are wearing the glorious armor of heaven. The enemy trembles when he sees a soul that still chooses love through tears, for he knows that love is the one thing he cannot understand, cannot destroy, and cannot endure. My child, whenever you feel the weight of the world pressing upon you, call my name, not as a ritual, not as a formula, but as a remembrance, a gentle breath, calling your beloved. Whisper it, and it is enough. I do not need long prayers. I only need a true heart. When you say, Lord, all of heaven falls silent to listen. I do not wait for perfect prayers. I only long for you to call me in your weakness. For I know that in that call lies all your faith, all your love, all your desire to live. And if you do not hear me answer right away, do not think that I am silent. Sometimes my answer is silence itself, but even within that silence, there is a love surrounding you. I do not always speak in words, yet I am always present. When you feel peace without knowing why, that is me. When you rise after a fall you thought you could not endure, that is me. When you forgive though you do not know where the strength comes from, that is me living within you. You do not need to be perfect to be protected. I do not love you because you are flawless. I love you because you are mine. Even when you stumble, I still call your name with tenderness. My love does not waver according to your actions. It does not shift with good or bad days, success or failure. That love is the cord that pulls you back every time you stray, the light that guides you through the night, the breath that keeps you alive when you think you've fallen beyond recovery. You do not need to understand everything to be guided. I do not require you to have a map, only that you hold my hand. You do not need to know the destination, only to know that I am the way. There will be paths you must walk where your eyes see no exit, yet my hand is still leading you in the right direction. True faith is not about seeing, it is about daring to step forward even when you see nothing at all, simply because you know who walks beside you. My child, this world will always confuse you. It will say that suffering is proof of failure, that weakness is a sign of defeat. But I say otherwise. Suffering is the school of faith, and weakness is where my strength is revealed. When you are exhausted, I can finally carry you on my shoulders. When your confidence is gone, I can finally show you that my grace is sufficient. In the very places where you think it's over, I am beginning something new. Remain within the sound of my voice, my child. My voice is not thunder, it is the gentle breeze that brushes your soul. It is not loud, not forceful, but tender and patient. I speak through the smallest things, a song that reaches you at the right moment, a friend's embrace when you need it most, a soft wind that makes you lift your gaze. Let your heart grow still so you can hear. Do not seek me in the noise of reason, seek me in the silence of faith, and you will realize that my voice is love itself. Every word I speak carries the rhythm of love, love that does not demand, does not judge, does not withdraw. When I say go, it is because I know you are ready. When I say wait, it is because I am preparing something better. When I am silent, it is because I am teaching you to hear what lies deeper than words. My child, if you understand this, you will see that every battle has a purpose, no tear is wasted, no wound is meaningless. All of it is shaping your soul, the soul of one forged in fire, now shining brighter than gold. Keep fighting, but do not be afraid. You do not fight alone. I am there in your breath, in your heartbeat, in the light that pierces through the night. And when you have nothing left to give, offer me your silence. I will turn it into a song. When you have no words left to say, breathe my name. I will turn that breath into a prayer. When you feel worthless, remember that you still carry the mark of the eternal within you, and that mark no one can erase. My beloved child, I see you. I see the weariness in your eyes, the weight your shoulders have borne beyond their strength. This world is harsh. It demands that you stay strong, keep smiling, keep going even when your heart is bleeding. It takes more than it gives. It asks you to love even when no one loves you back, to endure when no one reaches out to help. And I know you have wanted to give up many times, whispering in your heart, Lord, can I still go on? But my child, I want you to stop and listen deeply. In that trembling breath, I am still there. I have seen all that you've done in secret, the times you lifted others while you yourself were collapsing, the moments you forgave though no apology was offered, the nights you still dreamed of goodness though every door seemed closed. You think you are weak, but in my eyes, you carry the strength of heaven. You have loved without expecting anything in return. You have sown seeds without knowing if a harvest would ever come. You have chosen light even when darkness surrounded you. And that not victory, not success, is what makes you strong. My child, you are not weak because you have cried. You are strong because you still choose to love after the tears have fallen. But now, I want you to know this. You are stronger than the storm you fear. For I am the wind behind you, the invisible force that helps you stand when everything around you falls apart. Each time you lift your eyes to the sky and whisper, "I can't anymore," I softly reply, "You can, for I am here." You are braver than the night that frightens you, because within your heart I have placed a sunrise, a flame that never goes out, no matter how long the night lasts. Do not let the world deceive you into thinking that you must be perfect to be loved. I do not call the perfect, I call the willing. I do not choose the strong, I choose those who know how to kneel. Do not chase perfection, for it is an illusion that will only exhaust you. Seek my presence where I am, where your heart finds rest. You do not need to have everything, you only need to have me. You do not need to understand everything. You only need to trust that I am still holding your hand. Do not seek for signs, seek for truth. Signs can mislead you, but truth never changes. The truth is this: I have never left you. Even when you are lost in 1,000 noises, I am still there, not in some faraway place, but in every heartbeat, in every breath. When you feel that I am distant, it is not because I have withdrawn, but because your vision is blurred by tears. Yet even through the mist, my hand can still reach you. You have fallen, I know, I have seen, but I do not count your stumbles, I count your risings. You may fall 100 times, but just one return makes heaven rejoice. To me, victory is not in never falling, but in never ceasing to come home. Each time you return, I place the crown of hope upon your head, wipe away your tears, and whisper, "My child, you still belong to me." My dear one, do not be ashamed of your tears. Every tear of repentance, I turn into a diamond in the kingdom that awaits you. None of them fall in vain. They fall to water the soil of your soul so it may bear fruit. Those tears tell the story of love, a love that refuses to give up, even when it must walk through the night. Do you know why the enemy fears you? It is not because you are stronger than him, but because you belong to me. He cannot touch what is holy, and you, my child, are holy. Not because you are flawless, but because within you breathes my own spirit. When I formed you, I breathed into you a part of my very being, a flame that no darkness can ever extinguish. That is what he envies, what he can never possess. He trembles when you remember this. He fears when you lift your head and see how small he truly is. He knows that the moment you realize who you are in me, all his power turns to dust. He is only strong when you are afraid. But when you stand in the light and declare, "I belong to the Lord," all of hell falls silent. My child, do not seek your worth in the eyes of others. Do not measure your strength by applause or approval. Measure it by how many times you have chosen to believe when everything fell apart, by how many times you have chosen to love when you were wounded. The world teaches that value is found in success, but I tell you, true worth is in a faithful heart, one that keeps turning toward me even when misunderstood, betrayed, or broken. That heart is more precious to heaven than all the treasures of the earth. You think I am far away, but no, I am in the smallest things, in the laughter of a child, in the breath of morning, in the arms that hold you, in the soft light through your window. I am there. Nothing in your life is accidental. Everything rests within my design. And when you look back one day, you will see every step, every tear, every fall was arranged by me to lead you closer to the light. My child, stop looking at your shortcomings and start looking at grace. You are not defined by your mistakes, but by my love. Let me change the way you see yourself. When you see ashes, I see seeds. When you see failure, I see lessons. When you see uselessness, I see preparation for something greater. Remember this, my child. I do not choose perfect souls, I choose willing ones. I do not use flawless vessels, I use cracked ones, so that my light may shine through the cracks. Therefore, do not be ashamed of your wounds, offer them to me. Those very cracks will become the places where my glory is revealed. When you are weak, whisper my name. When you are weary, let me hold you. When you have no strength to pray, simply be silent and let your heart speak. I understand the language of silence. I understand tears more than words. I do not ask you to be strong. I only ask that you do not drift away. For in all things, my child, I remain unchanging. My love does not depend on how you feel today. It does not fade when you doubt, nor withdraw when you fail. That love is eternal, the foundation on which you can rest your whole life without fear of collapse. O weary soul, rest in me. The storms will pass, the tears will dry, and the dawn will come again, but the light I placed within you will never fade. You will rise again, not by your own strength, but by the power of the one who calls you by name. And when you lift your head, you will see darkness has never conquered the light, for that light is me, alive within you. You have asked for a sign, but what greater sign could there be than the fact that you are still alive and breathing in my grace? Every heartbeat within your chest is living testimony that I am still working in your life. If my work in you were complete, you would no longer be here asking me questions. Your breath itself is proof that your mission continues and that I, the creator of heaven and earth, have not let go of your story. Do not mistake pain for punishment, my child. It is not the whip of wrath, but the narrow road of transformation. Pain is the shedding of the old shell so the new being may emerge. Every tear, every wound, is soft soil where I plant the seeds of growth. Sometimes it feels as though everything is falling apart, but in truth, that is when I am rebuilding not upon the sand of emotion, but upon the rock of faith. Know this, the enemy is cunning. He does not come with horns and fire, but with urgency, with the hurried whisper that says, "You are late. You must fix it now. You must finish, or all will be lost." But stop and listen, for I am time itself. No moment escapes my hand. None of my plans are delayed, and none of your prayers are lost. Everything unfolds according to the perfect rhythm of heaven. So rest in this truth. You are not left behind. You are being led slower, deeper, but surer. The world is not running away from you. It is unfolding before you, layer by layer, just as I ordained. The seed in the soil is not dead. It is silent in its season of waiting. And in due time, it breaks through the earth and blooms. So it is with you. You are in your season of waiting, and this silence is not the end, but the pause before the next chapter. When you despair, look to the cross. I turned a tomb into a garden, betrayal into blessing, crucifixion into resurrection. So why do you think I cannot turn your brokenness into beauty? Every shattered piece within you is not waste, but a fragment of mirror reflecting the light of grace. When I touch those wounds, they cease to be scars of shame and become marks of love. There will be nights when you cannot feel me, days when your prayers seem to fall into silence. But do not mistake my quiet for absence. The moon does not disappear when the clouds cover it. It only hides for a time so you may learn to trust in what your eyes cannot see. So it is with my presence still there, still near, still surrounding you, even when you cannot sense it. Faith is not born in the light. It is forged in the dark. It grows in the moments when you must choose to believe without seeing, to walk when the path is unclear. And when you choose to believe in the middle of the night, that is when miracles begin, for true faith does not require proof, it is the proof itself. My dear child, do not be afraid of waiting. I am writing your story, line by line, with the ink of faith. You may only see a fragment, but I see the entire manuscript. You think everything is slowing down, but in truth, I am aligning every detail so that, when the door finally opens, nothing will be missing. Slowness is not failure, it is grace in the process of perfection. There are things that can only be seen clearly once your tears have washed your eyes clean. There are turns in the road that only make sense when you look back from the mountain of endurance. When you think everything has ended, that is when I begin something new. For I am the one who makes the desert bloom, who brings dry bones to life, who causes broken hearts to sing their song of triumph. Know this: pain will not destroy you, it is purifying you. Every trial is a flame that forges faith. Just as gold shines brighter after the fire, your soul will grow purer through seasons of testing. Do not despise the fire, for it has not come to consume you, but to refine you. When my fire touches you, falsehood melts away, and only what is true remains standing. And when you step out from the flame, you will not be the same. Fear will no longer bind you, regret will no longer weigh you down. You will learn to see me, even in what you cannot understand. When all within you becomes still, you will hear my voice not in the storm, but in the gentle whisper. My child, I know you are weary. I know there are moments when you wish to let go. But remember, all who carry glory once walked through the valley of shadows. Abraham waited until old age. Joseph was betrayed and confined in the dark of a prison. David was hunted through the wilderness, yet none of them were abandoned, for my hand remained upon them, guiding them to their appointed time. So it is with you, my hand is still upon your life. I do not promise that you will never cry, but I promise your tears will not be wasted. I do not promise that you will never fall, but I promise to lift you up again. I do not promise that you will understand everything, but I promise you will behold my glory when the time is ripe. For my grace is not measured by ease, but by the fruit of perseverance. Lift your head, my child. The cross is not only a symbol of suffering, it is a reminder that resurrection always waits beyond the night. Whenever you feel loss, remember, the stone has been rolled away. The gates of heaven stand open. You are no longer lost, but chosen. Let your heart find rest in my hands. All that you do not understand today, one day you will see that every tear, every silent night, every seemingly meaningless moment was a deliberate brushstroke in my divine masterpiece. I have not missed a single detail, not even the smallest crack in your soul, for it is through that very crack that my light enters, and that is where the miracle begins. My beloved child, there are days when your faith trembles like a candle in the wind, moments when you feel as though you have no strength left to believe. You whisper, "Lord, I can no longer feel you," and you assume that means your faith is gone. But I want you to understand something deeper. Faith is not measured by emotion, but by endurance. Feelings come and go like the tide, but endurance is the quiet river that keeps flowing beneath the still surface. True faith is not the surge of emotion and passionate prayer, but the decision to keep believing even when your heart feels empty, even when I seem silent, even when darkness covers all you know. Do not fear when you cannot feel me. Many times, it is in the silence that I am working most deeply within your soul. Like a seed buried in the soil, you cannot see it move, yet life is forming in the darkness. Faith does not flourish in noise, it matures in stillness. When you keep walking without the comfort of feeling, when you keep praying though your words seem to vanish into the void, when you choose to forgive though your heart still aches, that is when you reveal the true strength of faith. For your persistence means you have never been defeated. You think failure is when you fall, but failure only happens when you stop rising. The enemy wants you to believe this is the end, that nothing can be restored, that your journey is over. But I tell you, this is not the end, it is merely a turning point in the story I am still writing. He whispers, "It's all over, but I am opening a new chapter. Some pages are written with tears, yet those tear-stained lines reflect the most radiant light. Do not fear the curve in the road, for it is only through the turns that you learn to walk by faith and not by sight. You will rise again not by your own strength, but by mine, flowing through you. When you feel completely exhausted, remember that your soul still carries my heartbeat within it. My breath is your breath. You do not have to save yourself, for I am already within you, working every day. Let me carry you across weary lands. Let me uphold you on the wings of grace. I do not ask you to run, I only ask that you do not let go. You will love again not because you have forgotten the pain, but because I will teach your heart to grow from the very wound that once broke it. You may think love has died, that pain has hardened your heart, but I am performing a miracle within those cracks. Like a tree rising from dry ground, your heart will learn to love in a new way, deeper, truer, and more humble. The love I teach is not the easy kind, but the kind that endures after it has been broken. From pain, you will learn compassion. From brokenness, you will learn to heal. Every time you love, I am glorified, for I am love itself, and then you will laugh again. That laughter will not be the sound of one who has never known sorrow, but the laughter of a soul that has walked through fire and still carries light. It will echo like thunder, shaking the realms that once tried to silence you. The enemy will tremble at that sound, for he will know that you have crossed the valley of despair. He understands that a soul which can still smile after suffering is a soul beyond his reach, that laughter is the declaration of life itself, the triumphant song of grace. My child, you are, my poem, still being written. Every line within you is a heartbeat, every stanza, a chapter in your journey. Some verses I write in light, others in tears, yet together they weave into a single hymn bearing your name. Do not compare your melody to another's, for I never repeat my tune. You are unique in my symphony. If today you hear only the low notes, do not be afraid, the heavenly choir is waiting to rise when the high notes come. You are my song, still being tuned. Sometimes the sound you make feels harsh, sometimes the melody drifts astray, yet I, the eternal conductor, patiently tighten each string of your soul. At times I must pull harder, and it hurts, but it is so the tone may become purer. No masterpiece is born without time and discipline. No soul can echo the music of heaven without first passing through fire. You are, my child, learning to fly. I do not rush you to take off. I know that before you soar, you must learn how to fall. Before your wings rise, they must learn to ache. But I will never let you fall too far, for my hands are always beneath you. Each fall teaches what strong wings cannot. I do not desire for you to live safely. I desire for you to know how to fly. And when you fly not by the winds of the world, but by the breath of my spirit, you will see that the very place you once feared is now the place of your freedom. The world may call you lost, but heaven calls you becoming. You are not lost. You are being shaped. My work in you is not finished yet, and that means hope still lives. You are not a failed creation. You are an unfinished masterpiece. The world sees a tangled soul, but I see a warrior being forged. They see wounds, but I see the marks of transformation. They see defeat, but I see the foundation of a miracle. My beloved child, be patient with yourself. One day, when you look back, you will realize that the things that once made you weep have become the very stones that built your faith. The crooked roads did not lead you astray, they taught you that I alone am your compass. And when you finally understand this, you will see that not a single moment of your life was wasted, not a tear, not a fall, not even the silence. All of it is being woven into a masterpiece that only I can fully see. O soul growing in the light, remember this. I never promised that you would not have to weep, but I did promise that your tears would not be in vain. I never said that you would not be wounded, but I did say that no wound could ever separate you from my love, and I never said that you would always feel my presence, but I did promise that I would never leave you. My beloved child, let every breath you take become a prayer, and let every heartbeat rise as a response to my love. Do not think of prayer merely as the words you speak in moments of devotion, for true prayer is the posture of the soul, the state in which you live, move, and have your being within my presence. Every breath you draw in is a gift from heaven, and every breath you release is a testimony that you are being held by my hand. I am not far away. I am not somewhere else. I am here within every pulse of life, within every trembling of your heart. I am nearer than a fleeting thought, deeper than the sorrow you cannot name, stronger than the fears you think have swallowed your soul. I am the breath within you, the life within every cell, the light hidden beneath all that you do not understand. Do not disregard the small callings that come to you in quiet moments. It is in stillness that I speak most clearly. When the world around you grows loud, I do not shout to win your attention, I whisper, for only a humble heart can hear that whisper. It is not the echo of fear, but the resonance of love, the kind of love that sees beyond what your eyes can perceive, the love that knows you will stumble and ache, yet still gently warns you to keep from falling into the abyss. When you sense a quiet stirring within, an unease, or a nudge you cannot explain, do not dismiss it. It is not the anxiety of the flesh, but the voice of the Spirit guiding your path. You think you know the boundaries of your life, the places where you may go, and the places where you must stop. But in truth, you see only what lies before you. I see the whole path. I saw your beginning before you were formed, and I see your end, the place where you will be glorified. You see one step, but I see the entire journey. You see the fragile thread of the present, but I hold the eternal tapestry where every single strand is woven into a masterpiece. Whenever I warn you, it is not to instill fear, but because I see the darkness waiting at the turn, the snare set in the hidden corner. You see one choice. I see the ripple of its consequence through generations, through souls, through the river of destiny. So do not take my words lightly, my child. Every word I speak is not empty sound, but is woven with the breath that gave you life. When I say, guard your heart, it is not a soft suggestion, but a command born of love, for I know how tender your heart is, how easily it can be pierced by deceit, how quickly it can be stolen by the sweet lies of the world. When I say, be watchful, it is not because I desire you to live in tension, but because the sleep of the soul is the most delicate snare the darkness ever made. It lulls you into forgetting me, into feeling safe upon a lost road, into believing all is well while your spirit quietly fades away. And when I say, be still, do not mistake it for a call to stop living or striving. Stillness is not idleness, it is surrender, when your soul sits at my feet, to learn how to listen rather than to speak. There are moments when your haste drives you toward the edge, thinking you are moving toward light. That is why I call you to pause, to breathe, to listen, for in the silence you will hear my heartbeat echo. Within your own, every word that I utter, even the smallest, is a lamp unto your feet. Do not despise the small lamp, for it keeps you from stumbling in the night. The light I give is not meant to reveal the whole road, but just enough for the next step that you may learn trust. If I showed you everything at once, faith would no longer be needed, but because I love you, I reveal only step by step, so that each act of faith draws you closer to me. My child, learn to live slowly, that you may hear my breath within your heart. Each morning when you awaken, know that you are being invited into a divine conversation. Each time you fall silent, know that heaven is listening. Each time you feel weak, know that my strength is working within you. And when you no longer know how to pray, let your very breath pray for you. Let your heart speak in your stead, for I understand even the sighs too deep for words. The world will try to make you forget what is sacred. It will persuade you that the voice within is mere coincidence, that your intuition is nothing more than emotion. But I tell you the truth, my child, your soul is where I dwell, and that gentle whisper you hear is my own calling. Each time you return to stillness, I draw nearer. Each time you choose to listen, you step deeper into the path of light. And when you learn to believe in what you cannot see, you will discover that I have never left. Every warning, every tear, every moment you feel tested, each one is a sign of love. For only true love dares to speak what the soul needs, not merely what it wants to hear. I love you enough to warn you. I love you enough to hold you back. I love you enough to remain silent, so that you may learn to hear me with your heart. My child, take seriously the path you are walking, for this is not the trail of wanderers, but the pilgrimage of a soul returning to true light. Every step you take echoes with either the voice of heaven or the shadow of the abyss. Those who walk without light stumble, not because the ground has shifted, but because their eyes have closed. When the soul no longer sees, darkness does not need to arrive to cover it. Indifference, complacency, and pride are the true night. Never think that faith sustains itself. Unless it is nourished by prayer and vigilance, its flame will fade, and you will find yourself walking in the dim afterglow of a light long gone. The world will keep telling you that warning is fear, that caution is weakness. It will tell you to open your heart to everything, to welcome every voice, to believe that all roads lead to peace. But my child, not every light comes from the source of light. Some things sparkle, yet are born of the counterfeit fire of darkness. Some voices are sweet as honey, yet following them will lead your soul into a desert. Truth does not always shout, but it always endures. If you learn to listen with your heart, you will discern which voice is mine and which is deceit wearing the mask of kindness. The world calls freedom the right to do whatever one pleases, but I say that true freedom is the power to turn away from whatever does not lead to me. Freedom is not boundlessness. It is deliverance from the invisible chains of desire, pride, and fear. A soul that does not know restraint is a soul imprisoned within its own chaos. The world tells you that love means embracing every voice, even those that pull you from truth. But I teach you that real love is not agreement with falsehood. It is the courage to stand for what is right, even if you must stand alone. True love does not ignore truth to preserve peace. It is willing to be wounded to preserve the light. There are voices that sound gentle, yet carry the venom of deceit. There are melodies that resemble peace but are only the numbness of a weary spirit. The enemy does not come with horns and flame. He comes with soothing words and warm emotions that make you mistake his presence for the guidance of the spirit. Yet true peace never coexists with compromise, and true love never causes your soul to lose itself. Therefore, you must stay awake, not only in mind, but in spirit. To be awake is to be aware. It is to learn the difference between what appears good and what is truly holy. It is to stop when your soul loses its quiet, even if the world around you urges you to move forward. True peace is never loud. It needs no proof of its existence. It comes softly, like breath, like warmth in the heart, like sunlight slipping through the clouds without announcement. Measure all things not by the world's noise, but by the stillness within, where I speak to you each day. You will see that there are things the world celebrates, yet your soul feels uneasy about them. There are doors that open to great opportunity, yet when you step through, you feel a part of your light quietly fade. That is the moment to pause, to ask me, Lord, is this the path you intend for me? For not every door that opens is mine. The enemy, too, can open doors, but his lead to bondage. Remember, what I open will never require you to sacrifice your peace in order to keep it. My child, do not be afraid when I tell you to wait. Do not mistake delay for denial. When I slow your steps, it is not because I have forgotten your prayer, but because the path ahead is not yet ready to receive the blessing. Just as a father will not hand a sword to a child who has not yet learned to hold it, so I do not grant a gift before your soul is mature enough to guard it. There are prayers I answer with silence, not because I do not hear, but because I am working in realms your eyes cannot yet see. Waiting is not emptiness, it is preparation. When you feel my silence, it is the very moment I am arranging things for you. You do not see the sprout as it grows beneath the soil, yet you trust that the earth is nourishing it. Believe the same about your dreams and your prayers. Their blossoms unseen are not dead, they are simply being nurtured in the time of my choosing. I know you grow weary while waiting, and fear arises when no sign appears. Yet if you learn to trust even in the silence, your soul will become stronger than any storm. For true faith is not measured by the miracles you witness, but by the steadfastness of your heart in the days when no miracle comes. If you believe only when all is well, that belief is mere emotion. But if you believe even while everything is breaking apart, that belief is true faith. My child, be cautious of what the world calls light. There are lights so dazzling they blind, leaving you lost and disoriented. My light is not blinding, it is humble and enduring. It does not drive you to run, but gently guides you to walk one sure step at a time. My light does not excite, it brings peace. Let your heart be the measure. Wherever there is deep peace, there I am. Wherever there is anxiety, argument, or haste, withdraw, for I do not dwell there. The world will call. The watchful ones, closed-minded, will call the careful weak, will say you are afraid because you refuse to compromise. But remember, my child, I do not need the world to understand you, only heaven to know you. Sometimes walking in truth means walking against the wind, staying silent while others shout, believing while others doubt. That is not weakness. That is the strength of one who knows where they belong. Be patient with the journey, my child. Everything I teach, everything I prevent, everything I delay carries sacred meaning. When I say, wait, I am preparing not only the gift, but also a heart large enough to hold it. When I say stop, I am shielding you from what you cannot yet see. And when I say go, I am walking beside you every step. There is not a single footprint you leave where mine is not beside it. Therefore, do not fear the darkness, fear only closing your eyes to the light. Do not worry when I slow your pace, worry only when you rush ahead without hearing me. Do not fear the silence, for in the silence I am speaking. And remember, what I slow today is what will bloom tomorrow. The world may urge you to run, but I call you to walk. The world may drive you to achieve quickly, but I invite you to become patiently. The world honors those who produce results, but I honor those who keep faith. In the end, you will see that every delay, every withheld blessing, was to give you something that can never be lost, myself. My beloved child, learn to trust that my timing is always perfect, even when it does not match your expectations. I have never been cruel in my delay. When I make you wait, it is not to hurt you, but to protect you from what you are not yet ready to receive. Every postponement from my hand carries protection, preparation, and deep refinement. For there are blessings that, if they arrive too soon, become burdens. There are doors that, if opened too early, find your soul unready to enter. You think you are prepared, but I see deeper into the corners of your heart, where motives are not yet purified, where intentions still mingle with ambition, where love is not yet pure enough to hold what you ask for. So I delay not to break you, but to cleanse you, that you may receive blessing and freedom, not in bondage. You must understand that my time is neither slow nor fast, it is exact. Everything I do happens at heaven's appointed hour, and that hour is not measured by human calendars, but by the rhythm of growth within the soul. Just as spring cannot come before the seed endures the winter, blessing cannot come before your heart endures refinement. Every time you wait, I am working. Every time you hear silence, I am clearing the way. Every time you sigh from weariness, I am engraving within you a strength you cannot yet see. For what I give is not only for you to have, but for you to become the one who can keep it without losing yourself. Work, my child, not only to succeed, but to be good. For success without love is an empty cup, loud in sound, but void of water to quench thirst. The world praises those who achieve, but heaven smiles upon those who are kind in their deeds. Every work done with a pure heart never disappears into nothingness, even when unseen. When you serve quietly, when you give without expecting return, when you choose silence instead of argument, then I am writing your name in the book of life with the ink of love. Do not build what merely impresses others, build what nourishes the soul. The towers of the world may reach high, but without foundations of compassion, they crumble when storms come. Yet if you build with love, even a small house of mercy, it will stand forever in eternity. Let every act you do, no matter how small, carry my breath within it. A kind word, a forgiving glance, a selfless act, these are the sacred stones with which I am building my kingdom in the hearts of humankind. O my child, every act you do in love is recorded in eternity. No seed of kindness is ever lost in the soil of heaven. The harvest may not yet have come, the ground may seem dry, and the heavens silent, but beneath the surface, I am working miracles. Roots are reaching deeper, seeds are breaking open, and the appointed season of reaping will come in fullness. Every good deed echoes endlessly through time, though the world forgets, I remember. The river of goodness always flows toward the source of light, and not a single drop in it is ever wasted. Remember, my child, I do not measure the worth of a deed by its outward greatness, but by the heart that performs it. A small act done with pure love holds more value in my sight than 1,000 grand gestures done for display. Do good not for applause, but because goodness itself reflects the breath of the one who created you. Each time you choose to love, even through pain, you walk beside me. Each time you choose to forgive, even when misunderstood, you mirror my image upon the earth. Do not let the praises of men define your worth, for they change with the wind. Today they exalt, tomorrow they forget. But the praise of heaven is eternal, written in light, engraved upon the soul, beyond the reach of erasure. When you choose goodness in silence, I see, and I rejoice. When you choose faithfulness unseen, I place upon you an invisible crown, the crown of those who serve in truth. Know this, my child, goodness is never in vain. The world may forget, but I do not. Even when your efforts seem overlooked, the seed you've sown grows in secret. One day, when you least expect it, it will bloom in the season I have appointed, and then you will understand that no drop of sweat, no sacrifice, no act born of love has ever been lost. My child, do not only ask, "What am I doing?" but also, "Who am I becoming?" For what I desire is not merely your actions, but your transformation. The more you love, the more you resemble me. The more patient you become, the more you reflect my kindness. The more faithful you are in small things, the more I can entrust you with greater ones. When you understand this, you will cease to compare, to count the days, to fear delay. You will see that each passing moment is part of preparation, that every pause is my hand crafting something delicate that only heaven can fully perceive. And when you look back, you will realize that every moment of waiting bore the imprint of love, love that is never rushed, never late, never mistaken, and never forgets. My beloved child, walk in peace. Work as one who sows with confidence that the earth is being watered, even if the rain has not yet fallen. Love as though no one sees you, for I see. Serve as though you are offering directly to me, for indeed you are. And trust that on the day I call you home, you will see every seed of goodness you have sown turned into a radiant field in eternity. Therefore, my child, trust in my timing, in my order, and in the love I pour without ceasing. Continue to do good, to love, to believe, even when you see no immediate fruit. For every act done in faith, I turn into a miracle, the miracle of growth, of hope, and of everlasting light. My child, listen carefully, for what I am about to say is not meant to frighten you, but to help you understand the gravity of the warnings I send. I do not speak in vain, nor do I issue cautions without purpose. I have seen what happens when people ignore the voice that comes from heaven. I have watched hearts that once burned brightly for truth grow cold like ashes, souls that once sang praises fall silent from weariness, and lives that once shone like lamps collapse because of one hasty decision, one step taken without prayer. I have seen those who once walked in light gradually drift into the fog of indifference, where wrong no longer seems so wrong, and right no longer appears so clear. They slowly lose their sacred sense of truth, until darkness no longer terrifies them but begins to feel familiar. You may think that a small choice is insignificant, that a careless word, a fleeting thought, or a seemingly temporary decision cannot alter much. But, my child, in the spiritual realm, everything carries weight. A thought is a seed, a word is a river, an action is a heartbeat that shapes the direction of the soul. Though a seed may seem small, it does not remain buried forever. It will sprout, grow, spread, and one day become a forest through which you or others must walk. What you sow, you or the generations after you will live within. Therefore I call you, listen closely. Be sensitive to the whisper of the Holy Spirit within you. Be cautious with every thought, every word, every moment you live. For every thought is a stream of energy. It can build a bridge that draws you closer to me, or burn that bridge and leave you wandering in the mist. Every word you speak either gives life or breeds decay. You cannot speak with bitterness and expect peace. You cannot nurture envy and expect your soul to rest. My child, know that every word carries a spirit, and it never disappears. It moves, it spreads, and it seeks a place to take root. The words you speak today may become prophecies that shape your own future. Therefore, speak with wisdom. Choose your words as a silversmith chooses each piece of precious metal. So it is with time, my child. Every second you live is a grain of gold falling into the hourglass of eternity. You may use it to build or to waste. When you allow your mind to drift into anger, greed, envy, or despair, you are investing your energy into fields that will yield only bitter fruit. These emotions are not merely passing moods. They are living forces, streams of energy that continue to exist, to influence, to multiply. Think of a locked room where someone lights a lamp but forgets to open the window. Gradually, the air grows heavy, and even the light loses its warmth. So it is with your soul if you feed anger, jealousy, or doubt. These energies will corrode the life within you until you can no longer hear my voice. The invisible world around you is not a myth. It is more real than the walls your hands can touch. Everything you think, speak, and do leaves an imprint upon that realm. When you choose love, the atmosphere around you brightens and becomes lighter. When you choose forgiveness, the spirit world moves, and chains are broken. But when you choose hatred, not only does your heart grow dim, but that same energy radiates outward, touching those near you, weighing them down, drawing them too into shadow. I tell you this not to make you afraid, but so you may understand that within you lies a great power, the power to create and to destroy. For you were made in my image, and within you is the ability to shape the world by what you sow from within. I have seen many souls lose their way not because they chose evil, but because they chose indifference. They did not openly reject the light, they simply ceased to care. They let faith drift by each day without nurturing it, let their trust grow cold without rekindling it, and when they realized it, the darkness had already seeped in. My child, the chill of the soul does not come overnight, but from thousands of days without prayer. It begins when you stop giving thanks, when you stop seeking, when you stop listening. That is why I warn you, for I have seen many fall not because of great sins, but because of small steps taken away from the light, steps that seemed harmless but led them astray. My child, look around you. The souls that once burned with fire for me have now become only flickering embers. They no longer weep for what is wrong, nor rejoice for what is right. They are alive, yet their spirits slumber. Do not become like them. Keep the flame, even if it is small. Stay awake, even when weary. For as long as one spark remains, I can breathe it back into a blazing fire. I do not ask you to be perfect. I only ask you to be honest with yourself. When you recognize a wrong thought, bring it into the light. When you speak a word that is unkind, correct it with a word of love. When you spend time in vain, return to prayer. Every time you realign your path, heaven rejoices, for it is the sign of a soul still alive. Understand this, my child. My warnings are not meant to restrain you, but to protect you from the deep pits that the world calls peace. There are paths strewn with flowers that lead to the abyss. There are voices that promise freedom, but bind you with fear. The enemy does not need you to hate me. He only needs you to forget me. He only needs to make you believe that your choices are harmless, that the spiritual realm is not real, that light and darkness are mere metaphors. But I tell you this, the unseen is more real than the seen. Your eyes may perceive form, but only your spirit can discern essence. And if your spirit sleeps, you will no longer see what is true. Do not underestimate small things, my child. A weak spark can ignite a forest, and a small shadow can extinguish a lamp. Guard your heart as a watchman guards the gate, for from it flows the wellspring of life. When dark thoughts come, do not embrace them, bring them before me. When anger rises, let it pass beneath my gaze. When despair weighs you down, let it dissolve in prayer. Every emotion within you can be transformed when you bring it into the light. You cannot escape the energy you sow, but you can redirect it. You can turn fear into prayer, anger into compassion, despair into faith. Each time you choose light over darkness, your soul grows stronger. And through those choices, I am building within you a strength the world cannot comprehend. Therefore, my child, do not ignore my warnings. Do not treat them as distant thunder, but as the gentle breath of a loving Father near you. Every warning I give comes from love, a love that refuses to watch you lose yourself. Be serious about your soul, for I paid a great price to redeem it. Be mindful of the seeds you sow, for they will become forests. Listen to the silence within, for that is where I still speak. I do not place upon your shoulders the burden of the whole world, for that weight only the Redeemer can bear. But I have entrusted you with a small corner of this world, a sacred ground that belongs to you, where your light must be kept burning. You do not need to illuminate all humanity. You only need to ensure that the flame in your heart does not die, for when that flame is extinguished, darkness gains ground. Yet if you preserve your light, even if it is small, unseen by others, at that very moment you defy despair itself, proclaiming that light still exists in the depths of night. That is how heaven opens, not through great fires, but through countless tiny sparks, faithful souls who refuse to let darkness claim their portion of the earth. You were not created to carry the weight of all the world's mistakes, but to keep your soul faithful to the light within you. Understand that when you remain steadfast in the small things, you are shaking the heavens. Every act of goodness, a prayer whispered in sincerity, a word of forgiveness, an embrace, a gaze filled with compassion carries the power of eternity. The light you guard in your heart does not shine for you alone. It radiates toward the weary and the lost. When your light does not go out, they still have a chance to find their way home. Therefore, never underestimate that small flame. In my eyes, it burns brighter than the noonday sun, because it remains alive against the wind, in the darkness, and in solitude. My child, do all things with the best of your ability, for excellence is a form of worship. When you pour your heart into what is true, you are not merely performing well, you are reflecting the Creator who formed you. I did not shape the mountains out of obligation, but out of love. I made the flower simply to be beautiful, the ocean simply to sing, and the sunset simply to blaze in glory. Beauty is not luxury, it is the visible expression of truth. Likewise, when you act with devotion, reverence, and love, you participate in that same creative act. You echo the original creation, allowing eternity to flow once more through your hands. Do not think of work as mere duty, it is an opportunity to worship. When you write a single line with a clear conscience, when you cook a meal with gratitude, when you teach a child with patience, when you forgive the one who hurt you, all these are ways of offering me the fragrance of honor. For I am not praised by song alone, but by a life lived in integrity. When you work for what is good, you are singing to me without melody. When you love in silence, you are praying without words. Remember this, I did not give you gifts to keep them locked away in a cabinet or to wear them like ornaments. These gifts were not given to glorify your name, but to strengthen the world. A gift is a tool, not a display. I gave you a voice to heal, not to argue. I gave you kindness to open doors, not to boast. I gave you wisdom to create, not to dominate. Each gift is a seed of the kingdom of heaven, and if you do not sow it, it will wither. Use what I have entrusted to you, do not bury it for fear of failure. For what grieves me most is not your weakness, but the waste of the potential I have placed within you. Understand that excellence does not mean perfection as the world defines it. It does not require a life without mistakes. It calls for a heart fully invested. When you give your all, even the smallest result is great in my sight. I do not compare you to anyone, for each soul is a different melody in the symphony of the universe. You do not need to sing like another, you need only sing with all your faith. When you live authentically, when you love sincerely, when you do what is right, even when unseen, that is when you are in harmony with heaven. The world will not always understand you. Some will mock your small light, some will say your efforts are meaningless. But, my child, I have seen a seed split open in the soil. It looked as though it was dying, yet in truth, it was giving birth to life. Everything you do in love carries within it the seed of renewal. And in its appointed season, it will bloom and bear fruit. Therefore, do not fear when no one praises you. Do not be discouraged when no one notices, for heaven sees it all. My child, every act you perform in faith is a ray of light piercing through the night. Each time you choose forgiveness over resentment, you are winning a battle that makes the heavens rejoice. Every time you create something beautiful, you are declaring that light is still stronger than darkness. And whenever you use your gifts to lift another soul, you are taking part in my work, the work of recreating the world through love. Do not wait until you have more, become greater, or gain power before worshiping through your work. Begin now, with the smallest of things, for it is from such small acts that glory is built. A single drop of water can reflect the sun, a humble heart can mirror heaven itself. And when you look back upon your journey, you will see it was not grand lights that shaped the world, but countless small ones, quiet, steadfast, refusing to die out. I have used such souls to write the story of eternity. Therefore, my child, keep your flame, even if it is only a small spark in the night, for I will use it to set the sky ablaze. My beloved child, listen to my voice, for I do not speak to make you tremble, but to awaken the soul that has fallen asleep amidst the noise of the world. I speak to you not through thunder or raging fire, but through the gentle breath of the night, which only those who are still within can hear. This world is slowly sinking into a deep slumber, a dream that people call freedom. I see them chasing glittering illusions, grasping for phantoms wrapped in false light, light that does not warm the soul but blinds the eyes. I see them bow before fame, applaud deceit, and laugh at things that make heaven weep. I do not stand afar to judge. I walk among them, calling each soul home. Yet my voice is soft, for I do not compete with the clamor. Whoever wishes to hear me must become still, must let go, must allow their heart to be made new. You live in a time when darkness no longer comes dressed in obvious sin, but cloaked in what seems right. It wears the garments of virtue and speaks the language of love, yet lacks the spirit of truth. It says, "Be true to yourself," but forgets that the self cannot be known apart from me. It says, "Love and do not judge," but forgets that love without the boundaries of truth is not love, it is compromise. My child, that is the blindness of the spirit, when the human mind no longer knows the difference between light and the reflection of light. A soul becomes deceived not because it chooses darkness, but because it calls darkness light. It trusts the voice of the world more than mine. It mistakes the agreement of the crowd for the sign of truth. But truth does not depend on belief. It remains truth even when the whole world rejects it. I have seen so many wander, not because they wanted to rebel against me, but because they stopped seeking me. My child, I am calling your soul to return not through outward acts, but by coming back to the true rhythm of your heart. Let me cleanse the dust the world has laid upon your spirit. You have heard many voices, the voice of fear, of desire, of pain, of human ambition. But separate them from mine, for my voice never brings confusion. My voice does not weigh your heart down, it brings peace. My voice does not urge you to prove yourself, it reminds you that you are already loved. I know how hard it is to keep a pure heart in such a world that praises noise and belittles quietness, a world that teaches you that compromise with darkness is acceptable if it brings advantage. But I tell you this, light never compromises. Light cannot befriend darkness and remain pure. Light can only shine or be extinguished. Therefore, my child, be brave enough to be different. Do not fear being misunderstood. Do not fear being alone. The world does not understand you because it does not understand me. When you choose me, you choose the narrow path, but it is the path that leads to true freedom. You ask, how can I live in this world without being defiled? My child, begin with your heart. Guard it as you would guard the source of a river. For when the source is tainted, the whole river becomes polluted, and when the heart is poisoned, the entire soul loses its way. Let my word be your mirror, that each day you may see yourself anew. Do not let the dust of the world settle until it hardens into a crust. Each night, when you pray, let me cleanse the burdens you've carried through the day, the words that have wounded, the thoughts that were not pure, the worries you have not yet surrendered. A pure soul is not one that has never known dust, but one that allows me to wash it clean day after day. My child, there are things that seem small but serve as doors through which darkness slips in. A harsh word left uncorrected, a wound left unforgiven, a trace of pride still clung to. The enemy does not need to tear down the fortress, he only needs a crack. So, do not let your soul give him rest. Learn to guard your thoughts. When you sense a thought that stirs unease in your heart, do not rush to justify it, bring it into the light. Ask the Holy Spirit to reveal what comes from me and what comes from the adversary. And remember, I never move you through fear. The purity of heart does not come from straining or forcing yourself, but from continual companionship with me. When you walk with me, darkness cannot touch you. When you allow my light to reach every hidden corner, deceit will have no place to hide. Keep your heart tender, do not let pain make it hard. When others wound you, let me heal you, rather than allowing bitterness to erode your soul. When you are weary of injustice, let me remind you that true justice does not rest in the hands of this world, but in mine. My child, the world will call your humility weakness, your holiness outdated, your compassion naive, but do not let those voices shake you, for in heaven, things are seen differently. Heaven sees in you the courage of one who does not lose themselves in darkness. Heaven sees in you the small flame that continues to shine amid the storm. Heaven sees in you a soul brave enough to love truly, to believe truly, to keep its purity in an age of deceit. Do not fear the false, my child. Do not fear the dark. For my light within you is stronger than any shadow around you, but you must nourish it. Light does not sustain itself. It needs oil, the oil of prayer, the oil of my word, the oil of watchfulness. Each time you spend time with me, the lamp within you is refilled. Each time you choose silence over argument, you add oil. Each time you choose love over closure, you keep that flame burning bright. And when the night grows darkest, you yourself will become the light by which others find their way home. My child, there will be voices that tell you I am too far away, that I no longer speak to humankind. Do not believe them. My voice still echoes not in noise, but in stillness. Not in the storm, but in the gentle breeze. Not in grand miracles, but in quiet moments, when your heart softens, when you forgive, though no apology was offered. That is my voice. When you choose prayer over complaint, that is my voice. When you pause before anger and choose peace, that is me guiding you. And when you hear nothing at all, believe that I am still speaking. My silence is not absence. It is an invitation for you to listen deeper. I am silent, not to punish, but to teach you that not all that is sacred comes with sound. There are revelations that can only be born in stillness, where your soul and mine meet, without the need for words. My child, walk through this world as one who carries fire, yet do not fear being burned. Move among chaos as a bearer of peace, yet do not let the noise consume you. Keep your heart pure, for a clean heart is where I dwell. When you live in truth to that, darkness will have no power to cover you. The world may not understand, but heaven will smile. And when you hear my voice calling, do not delay. Do not let tomorrow decide what I have already stirred within your heart today. Return, O soul that thirsts for light, for I am standing right here with arms wide open, with eyes that do not condemn, and with a heart still beating with love for you. I call not to accuse, but to redeem. I warn not to threaten, but to keep you from the abyss. Listen to the warning of the light, and you shall live. Beloved child, engrave this truth upon your heart. True greatness is not measured by the size of your achievements or the sound of applause, but by the way you do small things with a vast heart. Greatness is not found upon stages lit with brilliance, but in the quiet room where you choose honesty when no one is watching, in the moment you choose gentleness when the world praises sharpness, in the breath you speak truth, though lying would be easier. Each time you choose what is right over what is convenient, you ignite a silent revolution within your soul, and heaven rejoices. For no silent act of goodness is ever meaningless. Every choice of integrity is a note in the song of salvation I am composing with you. When you choose meekness in a world that calls cruelty strength, when you choose forgiveness in a culture that glorifies revenge, when you choose love instead of judgment, you are planting the flag of my kingdom in the midst of the world. Such actions may seem small, yet they Shake the unseen realm, for it is within stillness that I perform miracles. Each time you guard your heart in purity, you cooperate with heaven in reshaping the world. You cannot fathom the power held within a pure heart. A heart like that can alter the course of a generation, can heal wounds so deep that even time cannot reach them. Time may help you forget, but love will make you live again. And because of this, the enemy trembles. He knows the power of an obedient soul. He knows that one life lived according to my will, one heart steadfast in the light, can tear down 1,000 strongholds of darkness. That is why he never ceases to sow discouragement, doubt, and the thought that your efforts are in vain. He whispers, "The world is too vast, and you are too small." But my child, it is the small things that shape history. A humble seed can become a mighty tree. A single word of love can rescue a soul. A simple act of kindness can redirect an entire life. Do not despise the power of the little, for I have never begun my work through grand things. I began in a manger, with a mustard seed, with the word yes from a humble heart. My child, do not wait for perfect conditions to begin doing good. This world will never be truly ready, and you will never feel fully prepared. Light does not wait for darkness to pass before it shines. It appears amid the night to drive it away. Begin now, even with one small step, for every act born of love is a stone in the foundation of my kingdom. When you love, you tip the scales of eternity toward light. When you choose goodness in silence, you make the darkness tremble. Be faithful, my child, even when no one applauds. For the world only sees the surface, but I see the heart. I see the tears you hold back so you won't speak words of bitterness. I see the moments you choose silence to preserve peace. I see the small, hidden victories no one notices when you restrain anger, when you choose to believe instead of doubt, when you pray even while your heart feels dry. Each silent victory is a radiant gem in your crown, and each time you stand firm in trials, I widen the heavens a little more for you. Do not think your acts of goodness are forgotten. They echo through eternity like the resonance of light. Every time you choose forgiveness, heaven brightens. Every time you choose love, hell trembles. Every time you choose trust, I draw nearer to you. Therefore, do not underestimate the sacred weight of small moments. Greatness does not dwell in applause, but in the quiet constancy of faithfulness. My child, learn to do everything as an act of worship. When you sweep a room, do it with a heart of gratitude. When you help another, do it with love overflowing. When you forgive someone who has wounded you, remember that you are taking part in my work of redemption. True excellence is not measured by the outcome, but by the sincerity of your offering. When you do good not for recognition but to please me, you are truly living as a child of light. The world celebrates noise, but heaven bows before the quiet-hearted. Remember, Jesus washed the feet of his disciples. It was not a grand act, yet it revealed the very essence of greatness. Greatness is not found in a throne, but in a towel, not in cheers, but in humility. So do not fear being small. I do not need you to be mighty to do great things. I only need you to be faithful in your portion. When you are faithful, your light reaches farther than you imagine. It may ignite hope in a soul drowning in despair, or warm a heart that has grown cold. And as your light connects with the light of others, the whole world will begin to shine. And, my beloved, if ever you grow weary, if you feel that your good deeds go unseen, remember I see. I watch every gentle gesture, every whispered prayer, every decision made in solitude. Not a single drop of water falls without my knowing. Not a single prayer dissolves into the air without touching my throne. Every act of sincerity is written in the book of heaven, and when that day comes, you will see that nothing was in vain, that every small act of kindness became part of eternity itself. So, my child, live with steadfastness, work with faith, Love with your whole heart, and remember, every faithful choice you make is a hymn rising before heaven. For I do not seek perfection in you, I seek a faithful heart, a soul that still chooses light even when the world grows dark. And in those very moments, you are doing the greatest work of all, bringing the light of heaven to the earth. My beloved one, listen with your heart, for every word I speak does not come to frighten you, but to awaken your soul from the slumber of this fleeting world. I do not miss a single detail when I warn you. Every word I utter is woven with love, forged in the fire of mercy. I do not threaten you, nor bind you with fear. I love you fiercely, deeply, so much that I cannot remain silent as I see you walk toward the edge of the abyss. My love cannot be indifferent to error, nor can it stand idle while you trade eternity for momentary comfort. My child, there is far more prepared for you, more than your eyes have seen, more than your heart has ever dreamed. You were not born merely to exist, nor to drift through the days like a weary shadow. I have placed within you my own breath, the breath of the Creator, the breath of life that cannot be stifled. You were made to reflect my light in a world that is slowly forgetting the true source of light. Do not let your soul settle for mere survival. I did not form you just to endure without joy, to persist without shining. My child, you were destined to radiate, called to bring warmth where coldness reigns, and invited to bear witness that light is still stronger than any darkness. I say to you, do not trade eternity for comfort. There are things that look like peace but are truly paralysis. There are safeties that are only velvet chains. There are smiles behind which souls are bleeding. My child, do not choose comfort at the cost of depth, for the ease of this world is a passing breeze, but the joy I give is an everlasting spring. The world can hand you glittering things, but it cannot give you true fulfillment, for only in me will you find meaning. Do not let your heart slumber in the land of compromise, for I have prepared for you fields of miracles and dawns of freedom. There is a joy awaiting you, a joy no one can imitate. It is not born of success, nor dependent on circumstance, but springs from knowing you belong to me. When you live in my light, you will feel a happiness that needs no reason, a happiness not born from possession, but from surrender. You will come to understand that true joy is not the satisfaction of every desire, but the fulfillment of the purpose I have placed within you. My child, the world may give you fleeting moments of ecstasy, but only I can give you joy that never fades. And there is a peace deeper than every achievement. Peace is not when troubles disappear, but when you know I am within them. True peace does not depend on having everything, but on knowing everything is held in my hands. The world teaches that success brings peace, but I tell you, only surrender does. When you learn to release, you will finally be able to receive what is real. When you cease striving for control, you will feel the power of the one who leads. My child, peace is not the prize at the end of the road, it is the road itself, walked with the awareness that I am beside you. There is a strength that awakens only after surrender. You have tried many times to stand on your own, to prove your worth, to hold your future tightly. Yet the more you strive, the more weary you become. For true strength is not found in clenched fists, but in open hands. When you give me everything, your fears, your failures, your past, even your unfinished dreams, I do not merely comfort you, I transform you. The strength I give is not loud or proud, but steady as stone. It does not make you invincible, it makes you unafraid. You will see that surrender is not defeat, it is the first step of power. That is why I earnestly call you to value my guidance, for my words do not come to restrain you, but to open the way into abundant life. Do not think that when I tell you to stop, I am holding you back. No, I am protecting you from what would break you. When I say wait, it is not because I am indifferent, but because I am arranging something better. Every instruction I give is a golden thread woven into the fabric of your life. If you ignore them, that fabric will tear and warp, but if you let me lead, every thread will align into a glorious tapestry. My child, the life I have dreamed for you is not small or narrow. It is as vast as mercy, as high as forgiveness, and as deep as truth. I did not create you to live in fear, nor to imprison yourself within your own limits. Mercy gives you the courage to love even when wounded. Forgiveness sets you free from the chains of the past, and truth makes you stand firm at every crossroad. When you live in these three things, you are living within the very breath of heaven. Your life will become a song, not one you sing for yourself, but one the world will hear and know that there is a being who still lives, still loves, and still saves. You may think you have plenty of time, that someday you will pray more, love more, and live more rightly. But, my child, time is a mystery, not a guarantee. It does not belong to you, nor rest in your hands. Every breath is a grace, every sunrise is an invitation, every moment is an opportunity to turn your direction. You cannot buy more time, but you can use what remains to become true to who you are. Do not wait until the end of the day to realize you have lived wrongly. Do not wait for a sign from heaven to know that I am calling. Even now, I stand at the door of your heart, knocking softly, waiting for you to open. Every second you are alive is another time I whisper, return. Every heartbeat is proof that grace is still at work. You do not know what tomorrow will bring, but you do know this. Today I still love you, and if you would just turn back, if you would just say, Lord, lead me, heaven will rejoice. With every moment you realign your path, you are becoming more like me, and that is the true victory of the soul. My child, do not measure the worth of your life by what you possess, but by who you are becoming. I do not count success. I count the times you have heard my voice and responded. Do not seek meaning in the applause of others. Seek it in my gaze. Do not look for strength in what is outward. Find it in the peace I plant within your heart. Live as one who understands that time is not to be spent, but to be invested into eternity. Use every moment to love, to forgive, to pray, to bring light into the places that need it most. When you live in this way, you will see that everything I teach, every warning I give, is not a burden, but an arm lifting you higher. And when you look back upon your journey, you will see that every call I made, every word I spoke, every warning I gave, came from the same source, the fierce love I have for you. A love that does not retreat before sin, does not grow weary from waiting, and does not withdraw even when wounded. That love is still knocking, still waiting for the yes of your soul. My beloved child, do not lose heart when you see how far the road ahead still seems. The journey of becoming yourself, the person I envisioned when I first shaped you, has no end. Even in eternity, the soul continues to learn, to grow in light, to walk deeper into my infinite love. Therefore, do not think of perfection as a destination. It is the journey itself. Every step you take toward what is good, no matter how small, is a victory. Though your pace may be slow, as long as you keep moving, you are drawing nearer to life. Do not measure your worth by speed, but by perseverance. I do not watch how fast you climb, I watch whether you stop. For in this world, faith is not a race, it is a dance between you and me. When you fall, I lift you. When you wander, I guide you. When you pause, I wait for you. When I warn you, do not dismiss it as a threat. My warning is not the voice of judgment, but the voice of love, striving to keep your soul from the edge of the abyss. It is the voice of the one who sees what your eyes cannot yet see, the one who knows the storm before the clouds begin to gather. My love is not always gentle and soothing. It is also a fire, a watchful presence, a hand pulling you from the flames, even when you do not understand. When I say stop, it is not to withhold joy from you, but to rescue you from what would break you. When I say return, it is not because you are entirely wrong, but because you are drifting too far from the light. Do you know, my child, that this warning comes from the same love that formed the stars, that breathed life into dust to create humankind, and that still watches over your soul through the long nights of doubt? It is the same love that wrote the law of life, that guided generations through storms, that was crucified so that you might be free. When I speak, it is not to add burdens, but to awaken your sleeping spirit. When I touch your heart, it is not to punish, but to protect. I do not want you to fear me. I want you to believe that every word I speak is woven from mercy. Receive my words as the thirsty receive water in the desert. Do not treat them as cold commandments, but as the lifeblood running through every choice, every action, every dream you hold. Let my words be the ground beneath every decision, the rhythm within your work, and the breath of peace within your rest. When you place me at the center of all you do, you will find that your work gains meaning, your joy deepens, and even your struggles become gateways to growth. Each time you choose what is right, even in the smallest things, you honor the sacred presence of me living within you. When you live truthfully, love sincerely, and act with compassion, you reflect the image of your Creator. That is why I call you to do what is good, not to be seen, but because goodness is the true nature of your soul. You were made in my image, and when you walk in goodness, you are returning to your original design. And when you fall, for I know there will be times you stumble, do not imprison yourself in guilt or shame. Rise gently. Falling does not mean failure. It is the lesson that reveals the strength of grace. The journey is long, but my mercy is longer still. You are not defined by mistakes, but by repentance. You are not in a race against anyone, for every soul moves to its own rhythm. You need only be faithful to your path, for my purpose is not for you to surpass others, but for you to bloom into the person I envisioned before you were born. Remember, I never demand perfection. I invite perseverance. The world teaches you to be fast, to win, to outshine, but I teach you to be faithful, to love, and to believe. Every time you rise after a fall, I see heaven open wide. Every time you forgive instead of resent, I see light pierce another corner of the earth. Every time you hold on to faith when you cannot see the way, I hear the heavens rejoice. You may think your actions are small, but in the unseen realm, they make the universe tremble. So, continue to listen, even when my voice is as soft as a breeze. Continue to strive, even when you are weary. Continue to choose light, even when darkness calls. Each time you choose what is good, the scales of eternity tip further toward redemption. Each time you choose love, you add a note to the symphony of heaven, where every soul sings in harmony. You may not see it now, but when you forgive, someone far away finds peace. When you choose patience, another heart grows stronger. And when you pray, unseen doors begin to open. And I, my child, am there in every step you take, in every tear you shed, in every small effort unseen by others. I do not look at you through success or failure, but through faithfulness. I smile when you keep going, even with a weary heart, even when the results have not yet come. For I know that one day you will understand that every warning I whispered was an act of love, that every delay was my protection, and that every trial was a tool through which I shaped your soul to resemble mine more closely. And when that day comes, when you look back upon the path you have walked, you will see that you never walked alone. I climbed with you, wept with you, and smiled with you. Everything you have gone through, the turns, the tears, the wounds, are brushstrokes in the painting of grace I am creating through your very life. Therefore, do not fear the long road, love it, for within it I am loving you and shaping you into your true self. My child, Keep walking calmly and faithfully. Every breath you draw is proof that I am still at work within you. And each time you lift your eyes upward, you will see I am still there, smiling in the gentle light of eternity. Now lift up the following prayer. Beloved Father, I come before you in this very moment, amidst the stirrings of my soul, seeking once more the breath of peace in your presence. You have warned me of the enemy lurking near, of the whispers that try to sow doubt within me. Please, Father, help me not to be afraid, but also not careless. Open the eyes of my spirit that I may see the shadows still hidden within, the corners where I have not yet allowed your light to shine. Teach me to guard my heart, for from it flows the wellspring of life. When the darkness whispers words of uncertainty, let your voice rise stronger, reminding me that I am a child of the light, born not to fear, but to overcome. I know there are moments when I am weak, moments when I want to give up, but please, hold my hand and keep me in your embrace until the storm passes. Father, if within the next 7 minutes my soul begins to tremble, let your breath sustain me. Do not let me heed the lies that say I have failed or that I am unworthy. Remind me that I am still here because you have not let go. I offer you every fear, every heavy memory, every hidden tear. Please transform them into weapons of protection. Father, I do not want to merely survive. I want to live in a way worthy of the breath you have given me. When darkness draws near, let me whisper, Father, I believe. Even when I cannot see, even when I cannot feel, I will still believe. For faith does not depend on emotion, but on steadfast love. Keep me in holy awareness, not only with open eyes, but with an open heart and spirit, so I may see you, even in this very moment. Lord, in the stillness of this moment, I feel your voice calling me home again. I see how I once strayed into self-blame, how I let weariness steal the joy of prayer. But now I stop. I understand that the enemy does not come in terrifying forms, but in familiar whispers, the words that say, "It's fine," or "A little distraction won't hurt." Yet I know those are the first steps toward distance. Please, Lord, awaken me, so that when darkness tries to slip through the cracks, I may say, "No, this place belongs to the light." Clothe me with the shield of faith. Guard my mind with the helmet of hope, and place in my hand the sword of your word. Let every thought within me be illuminated, leaving no room for deception. Father, there are times when I feel too weak to pray. My lips fall silent, my heart feels empty, and tears take the place of words. But I believe those tears are prayers you understand more deeply than any language. When I cannot speak, please speak for me. When I cannot walk, carry me through. I know that. In every moment I thought was failure, you were rewriting my story. The enemy may know my weakness, but you know my true essence, the light shaped in your image. Remind me of this truth when my mind is torn and my heart doubts, so that I may stand firm and never forget the sacred origin of my soul. Father, please help me discern between the whisper of darkness and the call of your voice. There are moments when the line seems blurred, when temptation wears the mask of kindness and distraction disguises itself as peace. Grant me a spirit that is sensitive enough to recognize the difference. When the world says, "Live as you please," remind me that true freedom is found in obedience. When the world urges, "Fight for your own justice," teach me to choose forgiveness. When the world insists, "Assert yourself," help me to choose humility. For each time I choose what is right, heaven rejoices and hell trembles. Strengthen me, Lord, not only to do good when it is easy, but especially when it costs me something. Merciful Father, teach me to trust your timing. When you seem to delay, let me not fall into doubt, but understand that every pause is your protection. Help me remember that a blessing that comes too soon can become a burden if my heart is not yet ready. Train me in patience, that I may wait in faith, not in fear. When my soul grows restless, let me hear your gentle whisper, "Be still, my child." And when despair tries to take hold, remind me that you once turned a tomb into a garden, a cross into glory. Therefore, even my present pain can become a miracle. Help me believe in the resurrection that is coming, even when all I see now is night. Father, teach me that your warnings are not chains, but shields. When you say, "Do not go," it is not because you fear for me, but because you see the abyss I cannot yet perceive. When you tell me, "Forgive," it is not to comfort the other, but to set my own soul free. When you say, "Humble yourself," it is not to humiliate me, but to guard my heart from pride. Let me give thanks for every warning, for they are signs of a love that sees farther than my sight. Do not let me disregard the soft voice within, for within its gentleness lies the power of God. Father, in this chaotic world where the easy path is praised and the holy path mocked, give me courage to walk the narrow road. Help me keep my inner flame burning even when the air around me grows cold. When I see goodness that seems too small to matter, remind me that no seed planted in love is ever wasted. A kind word, a faithful deed, a silent prayer, all these can shake the earth. I know that darkness does not fear noise. It fears the souls who remain faithful in silence. Make me one of those souls, so that when others give up, I will still choose to believe, to love, and to hope. My Father, help me see the sacred in every moment. Let me recognize that every passing second carries the weight of eternity. When I am tempted to delay doing good, remind me that delay opens the door for darkness. When I fear failure, teach me that the only real failure is losing myself. When I fall, lift me up gently, for your grace is always greater than the distance I have fallen. I do not seek perfection, only authenticity, authenticity in your light. Help me to keep walking, to keep listening, to keep choosing light, so that every breath I take becomes a quiet yes to your will. And finally, my Lord, keep me in the unshakable embrace of your love. Let me not fear the darkness, yet never underestimate it. Teach me to stay alert without anxiety, peaceful without indifference, steadfast without hardening my heart. In every trial, remind me that you do not count the number of times I fall, but the number of times I return. When I am weak, be strong within me. When I am lost, be the compass of my soul. When I forget my worth, remind me that I was formed by love itself, and that nothing can take that away. Father, in these 7 minutes, and in every minute of my life, keep me within your light. Amen. I offer this prayer in the holy name of Jesus Christ. Amen. Don't forget to subscribe and turn on notifications so that together we may build a strong community of faith.